Thank you. So that brings us to our first E item. This is resolution designating April as School Library Month. The board will consider approval of resolution number 2022-2361, declaring April as School Library Month in Santa Rosa City Schools, and presenting this action item are Associate Superintendent of Educational Services, Dr. Castro, Executive Director of Educational Services, Kelly Dillon, and District Library Media Specialist, Steve Irving.
Thank you and good evening, President Manieri, Superintendent Trunell, members of the board and the community of Santa Rosa City Schools. I'm making tonight's presentation for the consideration of this resolution are Kelly Dillon, Executive Director, Educational Services, and Steve Irving, District Library Media Specialist.
Wonderful. Thank you. Good evening, President Manieri, Superintendent Trunell, members of the board and community. Our school libraries are an important part of our communities, and I have no doubt many of us have happy memories of checking out a favorite book or listening to a story read aloud. Tonight, we are grateful for the opportunity to recognize the important impact our libraries have through this resolution. And thank you to Steve Irving, our District Library Media Specialist, who is here with us tonight to share a few words.
Good evening, board. Thank you for having me here tonight. National School Library Month is held every April by the American Association of School Libraries. This annual celebration highlights the valuable role of school libraries, librarians, library technicians, and instructional material technicians play in transforming lives and strengthening communities through education, technology, information access, and having a safe place to go. In Santa Rosa City Schools, we are proud that our school libraries are a valuable resource for teachers and students to encourage growth and the development of literacy by fostering a deep appreciation for the ideas and beliefs of a variety of social, political, historical, and ethnic groups and their contributions to American and world culture. Our libraries are also fun places for students to go to explore their curiosity and ideas. These opportunities are made possible because of fantastic and dedicated individuals who manage our school libraries. We are continuing to work on our strategic plan for all school libraries to not only improve the collections in our libraries, but also improve the physical space in the libraries and our online presence. We are excited about this collaborative effort and look forward to bringing a final plan to the board in the near future. Finally, I want to thank you, the board, for your consideration for this resolution for National School Library Month and your support of the school libraries, library technicians, and instructional material technicians in Santa Rosa City Schools. Thank you.
Let me turn it over to the board.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Steve. Are there any board member questions on this item?
I do have a question,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, I know we've constantly asked the board what we can do. We've asked ourselves and we've asked staff what we can do to put, you know, some kind of weight behind these resolutions so they're not just, you know, us making a, you know, it might be an impactful statement, but action that we can take. And I'm wondering, I was kind of researching it about, you know, looking at, you know, when we think about our school libraries and we think about lack of resources and what we can do to strengthen them and having maybe a greater presence on our campuses. And I've seen other districts where they have partnered with county libraries. I'm wondering if have we ever had that conversation? Have we engaged in there? And the reason why I bring it up is because, and I'm going to bring it up at other items and I'll continue to bring it up, is just leveraging resources. Leveraging grant money. If we're looking for having even full-time librarians on our campus, increasing that number, there's a cost associated with that. But it's possible that you know, using a collaboration with a county library, that maybe we can apply for funding that might actually fill a position.
I'm not sure about funding, but we do have collaborative efforts with Sonoma County Library. We were the first school district in Sonoma County to partner with them with the Student One card. So every one of our students has a public library card right now.
No, my kids too. I love that.
Yeah.
and we're also big users of our county libraries. I think I'm more looking into, you know, a next step, something that we can actually do concrete on our school sites. We have great spaces. Even in our tour, we visited a couple of the libraries, saw some great spaces, but underutilized because we don't have staffing.
Yep.
So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
I appreciate the question. It's definitely something we can look into. I'm not aware of funding that's that we could partner with the county library, but I will certainly reach out and ask them. I know a lot of the grant funding that's out and available for libraries is individual per school sites. It's not district-wide grants oftentimes. So, but it's definitely something we can look further into.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great question. Are there any other questions from the board? Okay, well, we will move on to public comment, and I have 3 blue cards. So I will take the blue cards first, and then we'll move on to our remote attendees. And so first we have Catherine Howell, followed by Anastasio Tovar, and then followed by Chris Ackerman.
Good evening, Catherine Howell. I'm not speaking as the president of SRTA, I'm speaking as a librarian right now. And for those of you that don't know, I was hired in Santa Rosa City Schools in the year 2000 as a full-time library teacher, credentialed teacher at Rincon Valley Middle School, where I happily worked until 2010 when the librarians were eliminated in the district. And then a few years later, one of them was reinstated. In the heyday of librarians, teacher librarians in our district, we had 11. And that was considered a really big deal to have 11 credentialed librarians in a district. If you look at the number in the standards, California standards for school libraries, the ratio that they are going for is about 750 to 1. Right now we have 1 to 15,000. So we're not quite there yet. Even at 11 librarians in the district, we had about double the state standard. So what we need to do for our libraries is bring more library texts back, but we also need to start thinking about bringing the teacher librarians back into the libraries. Teacher librarians are teachers. They teach digital literacy. They teach library usage. It's as much as we all love checking out books and hearing story time, that's not what the teacher librarian is primarily motivated by, certainly at the secondary level. It's about teaching students how to find these resources. And especially as the internet explodes and explodes and explodes, showing them the right resources, telling them how to figure out if a website is filled with lies or not, evaluating sources. And these are things that our teachers have been trying to do over the past 10 years since the teacher librarians have been removed from our schools. But let's get the librarians back and do it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Can you hear me? We're in the library topic, so I just wanted to plug in that this year CCLA will be renaming our library May 18th for our open house, and it's going to be dedicated to Lawrence Cook. So I invite all the board members and community members to come to that day for the renaming of our library. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Anastasia. Next, we have Chris Ackerman.
Yes, it's you, Ms. Ackerman.
Sorry. Hi, my name is Chris Ackerman. I am a teacher over at Cesar Chavez Language Academy. I just want to state that I absolutely hope you follow this resolution, but know that it will mean absolutely nothing if we continue to have only one librarian in this district. It is ridiculous. Our library closes before the school even ends. Our students don't have an opportunity to check out books before school because they're not at work yet, and they don't have opportunities to check them out after school because they're gone. I have nobody I can collaborate with and work with on big research projects like I did when I worked in Illinois and I had a full-time librarian. It was awesome to bring students in on a weekly or bi-weekly basis and have them have the opportunity to learn the skills. I used to call the school librarian my book fairy because she would spend a lot of time researching books, figuring out what books the kids want, ordering the books, and then hand delivering them to kids in the middle of class. It was like Santa Claus, but with library books. I have also collaborated with librarians at the public area. So I have done that, not just with school librarians. They have individual grants, usually schools, and we kind of pair up a book with different learning opportunities. So that's great. And finally, I want to let you know that one of the great things about libraries in the state of California is most public libraries are funded with state funds. That means if you are a California resident, you can get more than one library card in the state. I currently have one from Santa Rosa, from Sacramento, from San Francisco, and I got one from LA. So please collect your library cards. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Do we have any remote attendees?
I am going to call for public comment on item E1. Again, this is just for item E1, which is designating April as School Library Month. So if you'd like to comment on E1, I will promote you and you have 2 minutes. Our first speaker is Deanna Oliveras for item E1 only.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks for calling on me since I wasn't called on when I had public comment on non-agenda items earlier. I'm just curious. I actually agree with Mr. Sheffield. These resolutions every month to have a different resolution every month. So this month is Library Appreciation Month. I kind of call BS on it, because if that was true, and if you're going to have a resolution declaring this library month, then we should have a certificated librarian, more than one for the whole district. Right now we have one for the whole entire district. And it goes back to what Ms. Howe said, bringing it back to the basics. At this point, we want our kids to be safe and we want them to read and write. Like, that's all we want. The contracts you guys keep bringing up and having people come and consultants and all this, we just want librarians. We want our kids to read and write. We need librarians in there that love books. We don't need just a classified person making minimum wage in there. We want librarians that love books. Kids know the difference between someone whose passion is books or not. That makes a huge difference. That's a safe place for these kids. And it's just crazy to me that thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars are spent in administrative costs and administrators, but our kids aren't even meeting standards. We want them to be safe. We want them to be able to read and write. The teachers, when my kids were little, I would volunteer for library day because the teachers couldn't handle all the kids in the library because they were so excited. Wouldn't that be amazing if that still happened? And that sometimes it gave teachers a minute to catch their breath while the parents were there, but parents aren't even allowed on campus anymore. We need more parents on campus. You need to open the campuses.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Oliveras. Next speaker for item E1 is Adina Flores.
Good evening, board and superintendent. I'm ecstatic that we are honoring the importance of libraries this evening. Knowledge is power, and if we do not read for ourselves to truly understand our history, we are doomed to repeat it. I'd like to inquire what books are included in the collection and what material is excluded. For instance, if we wish to truly educate our youth, let's start by informing our kids that we have had 6 Black presidents, not one. Mr. Pryor's mentioned this on many occasions. Let's teach our children the California and US Constitution, which this board refuses to uphold. Let's teach them that the same family who conducted the research to encourage the Holocaust is now funding an ongoing eugenics movement disguised as a vaccination narrative. Let's learn to read each and every contract coming forth for board approval. Perhaps if we did so, we'd understand that this board sold our students' data to Mr. Bill Gates. If you had taken the time to research the Youth Truth Survey, certainly you'd know it was established by the Center for Effective Philanthropy, founded and funded by the aforementioned billionaire. I find it interesting that Mr. Sheffield referenced partnering with the county library. Former Santa Rosa City Schools Board President, Ms. Jenny Close, was also president of the Sonoma County Public Library Foundation. She's currently under investigation with the state due to financial omissions and discrepancies. She's established around 3 nonprofits that receive not only corporate funding, but government funding that don't legally exist with the Secretary of State or IRS. So I inquire about the motives behind this partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next online speaker for item E1 is Margaret Boone.
Good evening again. Sorry. I was lucky to grow up in a household where education was at the forefront of everything. My dad was a chemistry, physics, and advanced math teacher and department head at Rancho Cotati. My mom was a highly educated landscape architect graduating at the top of her class from UC Berkeley. They both valued books more than just about anything. My dad at one point had over 100,000 books, too many for his bookcases, so they sat in stacks, 2 or 3 stacks deep, in front of the bookcases. Every Friday night, we got to go to the bookstore, Books Inc. at Cottingtown to pick a book to buy. My brother, my sister, and I would also walk to the library every Saturday and check books out. Books are something not every kid has at home. Not every kid can afford to buy books. Not every kid can safely and easily walk to the library. In a time when banning books has somehow become a thing again, we should do whatever we can to get books into the hands of kids. We should fully fund our libraries with updated book collections and trained librarians to check those books out. Accessibility should be a huge focus, getting books into kids' hands, fostering a love of reading, and all that comes with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Shelby Pryor, and this is for item E1.
Good evening, board. It's been a pleasure going ahead and listening to all these individuals talk about the importance of us and your partnership with the library, helping them find librarians and coming up with reasonable reading material that doesn't consist of your political ideologies of them, they, and everything under the sun. I think that you need to start understanding that with this partnership, you have an opportunity to start educating our children on real, actual, tangible history, things that we can see and understand. Things like violence only begets more violence. If we continue to not have good partnerships and put filth into our libraries, we're going to keep getting the same results that you keep giving us. It's interesting that you've been indoctrinated to read only the books that you've selected, and yet we still have similar issues and problems. My recommendation for the safety of the kids being bullied would be for them to jump into a library, because you ain't got to worry about the bad kids being in there. I'm sure you don't want that to be an answer, but I would say this. I would say that if you can start teaching them a world perspective, but also an appreciation of their local history and things that are going on within their city limits and boundaries, these things could go ahead and actually help to go ahead and build the fruitfulness of your library. Start actually having school events at the library. Take your kids and make a requirement for them to visit the library as part of their general everyday studies. Hey, you have to read this many books. All I can say is, if you're going to partnership with them, make sure you don't have hypocrites who you partner with. Not going to say no names, you already know who you are.
Thank you. Our next online speaker is Zoom user. If you could please state your full name. This is item E1, public comment.
Maria Posey. Before establishing a library day, I really think that the schools need to be working on actually having the kids be able to read and write. You kind of miss the point if you're not making that happen. But on another note, the school libraries, what kind of books are you going to be having in there? Because I'm seeing more and more parents in other districts that are speaking up about the child pornography that is in the libraries. So are you going to have the libraries that are telling kids how to give blowjobs, which actually says that in the verbiage? So if you think it's inappropriate that I'm saying this right now here, it's not appropriate for our kids to be reading it. So what kind of books are you going to be having for the kids? Are you getting the new woke books for the kids and having them question. I can see the eye roll, De La Cruz, which I know is part of your agenda. So will we be getting a list of all these new books and everything else? And one librarian for the whole district? Are you serious? That's ridiculous. And if that's the case, then be asking for parent volunteers. Get them vetted, get them fingerprinted. It's not that hard for you guys to do, but I'm sure there's plenty of parents that would. And there's probably some veterans that could probably volunteer to be librarians, and that would give you guys some safety on campus on top of that. Why don't you kind of work those two together so you have safety on top of having somebody in the library? But why don't you work on those books? Because banning things like To Kill a Mockingbird and Huck Finn, but then put in cartoon characters of how to give a blowjob is absolutely ridiculous and unacceptable. So as for Library Day, if you guys can't get the library stocked properly, it doesn't need to be a library day, and it does no good because you can't get teachers in there to actually teach the kids how to read and write.
Thank you. And President Manieri, there are no other hands raised.
Great, thank you. So at this time, we will bring this back to the board for any further questions, discussion, or a motion.
I move to adopt the resolution designating April as School Library Month.
Second.
Thank you. That was moved by Director Sheffield and seconded by Director De La Cruz. Any further discussion before we do a roll call vote? Vice President Medina.
Yeah, I just want to add that one of my favorite memories I cook, and one of my favorite classes of all time involved going to the library a lot. And that was in 7th grade, 5th period with Mr. Prids, silent sustained reading. All I got to do in that class was just sit and read whatever I wanted. It was so soothing, relaxing, and escape. And it was always right after lunch. So I value books. I think this is important. And yeah, books are awesome. And I think we need to look for more opportunities like that just for mental health. Thank you.
I just have to add to that because I was a pretty disruptive kid. And the teachers would just send me to the library, and I would I would get my work done, but then I was a distraction to I think as the teachers put it to my parents, I'm distracting the other kids, so they would just send me to the library. And I had a very good relationship in high school with my librarian, and she made all these amazing book recommendations, starting from my freshman year all the way through my senior year, and would love every disruptive kid to have that type of librarian and relationship on campus. So anyway.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in with the loving librarian story. When I was in law school, I was part of a group of students of color who were really activated around defending affirmative action. And so, as you can imagine, our names came from all different parts of the globe, and our dean at the time knew that he was going to do us all a disservice by not being able to pronounce them the way that our parents did. And our law school librarian was like this amazing polyglot who had a beautiful accent in multiple languages. And so she volunteered to say all of our names the way that our parents said them when we walked across the stage to get our law school diplomas. And I will always be grateful for just the loving, kind of educated, informed way that, having that perspective allows for kids to be seen and for their families to feel proud of who they are. And so adding love for librarians and for the solace of books.
Well, we have a motion and a second, so we will do a roll call vote.
Director Bowie. Aye. Director Sheffield.
Aye.
Director De La Cruz.
Aye.
Director McNally.
Aye.
Director Flores.
Aye.
Director Medina.
Aye.
President Manieri.
Aye. Thank you so much.